In 2 days, the biggest game of the year releases. How will it do? How will it be received? We'll take an in-depth look. All today on TNT Big Show. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is me, Michelle Tackett.
And this is Sean.
Let's get into the video. Okay, now, with Grand Theft Auto 6 delayed, easily the biggest game of the year is going to be Mario Kart World. You're talking about a game that on one system is headed towards 70-80 million units. On one system. And if you count the Wii U, that's an extra 8 million copies. Mario Kart Wii was huge as well. But Mario Kart is probably the biggest franchise on the planet for Nintendo. I know Animal Crossing is huge, 3D Mario, 2D Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, but nothing's as big as Mario Kart. And despite the little pricing controversy and rage and clickbaiters trying to lie to people, we're going to give you the straight skinny. We're just going to tell you how we think the game is going to do, both commercially and critically, and we're also going to tell you a lot of the stuff that's in the game. Now, Mario Kart has been one of the most well-received games for any Nintendo platform, whether that is the N64, the GameCube, the Super NES, Wii U, and of course the Switch. So it's not going to be surprising that I think that this will be well-received, but how well-received will it be? Because you do have to remember, some people are just really throwing a hissy fit over $80. Now, okay, don't get me wrong. I think inflation sucks. It sucks big time. The unfortunate thing is, though, there's nothing that you can do about it. And Dreamcast Guy did a new video where he said that Sony doesn't have nearly as much money on hand as everybody thought they would. Look, video games are getting very expensive to make. See, you guys are an oxymoron. You guys want better pay for the voice actors, as they should. You want good pay for the workers, as you should, and that even includes contract workers and stuff, as they should. Fair enough. But, and this is a good thing for them, however though, that is also put into the budget of the game. It costs money to make games. And in the case of Nintendo, it's not some greedy CEO making $100 million a year. Furukawa makes around $2 million a year. Miyamoto makes $1 million a year, and that's it. Everybody else at Nintendo either makes, including the lower end workers, make $70,000 to $100,000 to $200,000 a year. Everybody in the company is paid well. How do you people forget that? And now Nintendo even put out a statement by Furukawa, because all this negative press that Nintendo's been getting as of late, y'all are not even looking at the positive stuff. That Nintendo said they will not work with any country or any company now that does slave or cheap, exploitive labor. But you guys just want to focus on the negative because you're so mad that Mario Kart is $80 and that the Switch 2 is $450. The Switch 2 is a mini PS5 and Series X. That's what it is. Stop going by the rage clickbaiters. Stop listening to them. Chips that were made in 2009, 2010, which is the chips that the PlayStation 4 used, as the chips made in 22, 23, which is what the Switch 2 uses. These chips are a lot more advanced. They're a lot better. They can do more. What you guys are just going by is the 1.8 teraflop number, which undocked the Switch 2 has. It's the same as the PS4. That's what you're going by. What you're not going by is the DLSS, the BRR, the HDR, the ray tracing, and all these new advanced chips that made leaps and bounds when it came to technology. And just the last 5 years have been incredible for new chips, technologies, and stuff when it comes to video games and computer graphics and what these chips can do. Because, again, Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty is not on the PS4. It's not on the PS4 Pro, and it cannot even run on the Steam Deck. You know what it can run on? The Series S, the Series X, and the PS5. That's what the Switch 2 is. So, $450. You get the machine, plus you get the dock, plus 2 Joy-Cons. That's not bad, actually. And for $50, okay, if you don't want to pay $80 for Mario Kart, pay $50 for the bundle. I know it's digital copy, I know that sucks, but still, If you really want it that bad, then do the digital bundle with it.
Exactly.
So please take that into consideration, okay? Let's stop listening to these rage baiters and stuff. Also, if you made it to this part in the video, please do us a favor and subscribe, because a lot of people are like, I've been watching your videos for years now, I forgot to subscribe. Well, here's your chance. Subscribe and hit the notification button. Anyway, let's get back to our predictions now. Mario Kart World has a lot of new stuff in it, new missions, kind of like there's something that's almost kind of like a one-player adventure mode. And then you have...
Well, it has hundreds of missions.
Yeah, and you have like the open world area of the game where you just go around, you know, there's no losing first place or whatever. You just go around collecting items and coins, and that's amazing. There's new techniques, like, you know, you can go jumping from rail to rail. There's a lot new characters, and now you can stay in the race without going back out. You know, you can just go from one race to the next, making it like an interconnected open world racing game. Not just the level, but the whole thing itself. And so that's even more advanced than Forza Horizon. So there's a lot of new stuff in this game, and Nintendo even said not every new thing in that game has been talked about yet. Okay, so here we go. What will the critical response be? I think it's going to be between an 86 and an 88. I do think it will be high because I think a lot of people will love the new ideals and all the characters and tracks. But at the same time, I think some people are going to take off for it for being $80. And they're going to say, well, it's an evolution, not a revolution. Nintendo's expected to revolutionize the video game industry every damn time they make a game. You know, with some of these other companies, the bare minimum is good enough. But still, I think an 86 to an 88 is what Mario Kart World will get, critic-wise. I think what will people like? The graphics, the frame rate, the new play mechanics, the online, and the soundtrack. What won't they like? The price, and to some people they won't think that there's enough innovation. Okay, so Sean, what do you think Mario Kart World will get?
Probably an 82 to an 83.
Okay.
You don't think I'm joking? Let's not forget, there are magazines and websites out there. Mario Kart Jamboree, Super Mario Party Jamboree. Everything's gonna 20 modes, 1,000 characters, everything, blah blah blah. You know, 8, 9, 10, 40.
Yeah.
And the same thing will probably happen to Mario Kart World.
I still can't get over the fact that Xenoblade Chronicles X went from an 88 to an 86 just because two bumbling buffoons were like, we really like the game, but man, some of this stuff is so outdated. If you really liked the game, then you should have given it an 8. You know, but anyway, I do agree that I don't know, I just think a lot of people are going to love the games online, the fun factor and stuff. But it wouldn't surprise me because it's the video game media.
Exactly.
On Blue Sky, I saw Stealth and some other people saying that it was going to get between a 90 to a 95.
Sorry, Stealth.
If
only, yeah.
I mean, I can understand, you know, like, hey, if you don't like the price, I understand that, but you also got to look at the product itself.
But they won't.
No.
That's the only reason it's going to get a low score is the price.
Yeah, and like Sean said, it's because it's a cartoony looking game. Because some people I've heard, like, I just don't think any game is worth $80. Fine. That's perfectly fine. You know, like, if you don't think no game is worth $80, well, okay, you didn't buy Chrono Trigger or Killer Instinct. Yes, folks, on the Super NES,
they were $80.
GoldenEye was $70. Don't forget that. GoldenEye was, when I bought GoldenEye when I was young, and we lived, I think it was Greenwood, Castleton, and you worked at Target. You know, GoldenEye was like $70. And I was like, holy crap, you know. And when the Super Metroid came out, it was more expensive than a lot of other Super Nintendo games because it was the first 24 megabyte cartridge. You know, I'm just saying, guys, that I know a lot of us got spoiled by the $40 prices of PlayStation 1 games. But again, CDs, a quarter to make. That's all it takes to make a CD. It takes dollars to make a DVD, a Blu-ray, and especially a 4K disc. This is not the same anymore. And back then, you didn't have things like 4K, ray tracing, people wanting to see horse testicles shrink up, and, you know, I mean, I'm sorry, but that adds to the budget of a game. And online, all this heavy online stuff, you think this stuff is free?
No.
But anyway, I think Sales, how much will it sell overall? I'm going to say in the neighborhood 45 to 55 million units. And I say it's a little lower because of the $80 price tag, but also I don't think, because of the economy and stuff, I don't think the Switch 2 is going to sell as much as the Switch 1. I could be wrong.
Well, the first 4 years, no. When Nazi Orange Hitler gets out of office, there's an actual good president in there who actually cares about people in the economy, it may boost back up quickly.
Yeah, I hope so.
Because look what happened to the PS3.
That's true. The PS3 had an awful start.
Yeah.
But come on, the Switch 2 is $50 cheaper than the PS5 and Xbox Series X. Well,
PS5 Pro.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more cheaper. But Sony and Microsoft are going to raise the prices of them.
Machines.
Yeah, that, like I said, folks, you guys may not like to believe this or not, but it is tariffs, Yep. But anyway, how much do you have Mario Kart selling?
About 40 to 50 million.
Around the same area, yeah. So I think it's going to get an 86 to an 88. Sean thinks it's going to get an 82 to an 83 by critics. I think it's going to sell 45 to 55 million units. Sean's is at 40 to 50 million. I do think that Mario Kart World is going to be a huge success. And I think, and I hope, that people, when they play it, they enjoy it,
Yeah.
But, we'll see how it does. We'll see what happens because, and right now, man, this economy and what's happening to people is just pretty sad, I know people are still pre-ordering the Switch 2, and it's going to be a huge success, but at the same time, I know that, look, if you really want the Switch 2 that bad, you may have to make some sacrifices. You may have to forego owning 2 or 3 systems, or buying 2 or 3 iPhones, and I'm not being sarcastic, I'm not. People do that. If you want the Switch 2 that bad, then you're going to have to make some sacrifices.
Yeah.
If you want Mario Kart World that bad, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. If you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. That's fine. But for those of us who want to buy it, let these people enjoy it, and you stop thumbing your nose down at people just because you think you're some sort of rebel by stealing, emulating games on your PC. And everybody knows how I feel about PC because they way overcharge people, and yet you guys don't seem to care about that. This is me, Michelle Nantucket.
And this is Sean.
Have a good one. Thank you for staying to the end of the video and watching it. If you like all of our videos, don't you join our other social medias like TikTok, Discord, Reddit, Instagram, Thread, X, and our WordPress blog. You can also support us by joining Patreon for as little as $1 a month, where you will get exclusive content, uncut videos, behind the scenes, watch that trailer, Jack's joke of the week, and my sports input. If you join the $25 tier, I will send you an autographed copy of The Buzzies for free. If you love horror movies and independent content, we're a great place to come and visit because we love supporting other independent creators and stuff. When you support us, you're supporting people who do all of this by ourselves. Me, Michelle, I'm the editor, I'm the director of the videos, I'm the producer, Sean's the executive producer and content creator. So thank you everybody, and please look into supporting our Patreon as it really does help out. Just $1 a month. Thank you and have a wonderful day.